So the debate continues for the Montreal Canadiens and conversations on whom it is they could go out there and target. So today we are continuing our conversations in a nice breather of a day because the Canadiens don't have a game today. My Canucks don't have a game today. There's a lot of time to just let things settle and just talk about whatever. So let's go out there and do just that. I wanted to go over to Spectre's Hockey from earlier this morning because, as most of you are familiar with, Lal Richardson compiles a lot of the NHL's conversations from folks in the media, on the radio, on the written side of things, and elsewhere, and puts it into one digestible read every single day. So big shout out over, of course, to Lal Richardson and the Spectre's Hockey crew. I'll leave a link in the description to today's article. There is a brand new update right here talking about the Montreal Canadiens and the New Jersey Devils and whether or not they could target Nashville Predators guys in the trade market. Let's start out here with what Darren Dreger says. Dregs reports injuries have forced the Montreal Canadiens into the trade market, joining several other clubs that are searching for forwards. Canadiens GM Kent Hughes would like to add a second-line center. However, Dreger believes he's also willing to add a winger. Dreger said the problem is that there are so few sellers and the prices are so high. That leaves the Canadiens and other clubs looking for answers internally. And this is obviously not new. Like, we understand that there's a lot of residue from this summer in the NHL right now. You had a lot of folks that went out there and got extra money. Both players and teams. Cap went up, spending went up. Teams were willing to hold on to the guys that they had because, let's face it, teams generally like the players that they equipped. They don't usually like to let them go or let them go to free agency. So essentially, this summer was the first one in ages where all these teams had so much more freedom to just say, hey, we like you, we're going to keep you. Besser, Tavares, Bennett, Marchand, Ekblad, lots of guys ended up staying with the teams that they were on prior, and this has extended into next year's free agency class. We saw deals handed out to Rantanen, Natchez, Kyle Connor, Kempe. Alex Tuck is probably going to come next. McDavid got a deal. Eichel got a deal. Everybody is getting paid. Nobody's really available. So this all of a sudden forces teams to look internally. Oh, is Oliver Kapanen our answer? Is Josh Waugh our answer? You can say what you want about whether or not Josh Waugh is actually an NHL caliber name, but he is somebody the Montreal Canadiens have given an opportunity to, not to mention Davidson, who has looked pretty impressive, I'm not going to lie, in the limited sample he has had with the Canadiens so far. So obviously the Montreal Canadiens, they are getting some answers internally. Preferably, you would like to see guys come in and provide a more stable impact that can actually result in wins, but not everything can happen that we want, can it? Let's continue on in Spectre's Hockey and read more of what the article says. On Montreal Hockey Now, Mark Dumont referenced Jeff Merrick's recent appearance on the Sakaris and Price show, saying the Montreal Canadiens were among the teams that contacted the Predators to inquire about Steven Stamkos. Okay, so Stammer trade talk. Still going on here, isn't it? Dumont noted that Stamkos currently plays as a left winger for the Preds. His game has slowed down considerably in recent years, and he has 2 more years on his contract with an AAV of $8 million. He thinks the Montreal Canadiens may be conducting due diligence rather than making a serious inquiry. Instead, Dumont suggested the Predators' Ryan Reilly as a better fit for Montreal. The 34-year-old is a left-handed shot and has put up decent numbers this season. He's also more affordable with a $4.5 million AAV through 2026-2027. If the Predators shop him, their asking price could be a first-rounder and a top prospect. So, Ryan O'Reilly? Steven Stamkos? Montreal would obviously need support down the middle, and Stammer doesn't really replace anything that you have going on over there. If anything, Stamkos would essentially be the Laine replacement. Yeah, you gotta remember, Patrick Laine is still on the Canadiens too. It's just he's been hurt as well. When you get both of those guys back, if you had Stamkos and Laine on the same line, it would have been either a total nightmare for the Canadiens or a nightmare for other teams. No in between. That's just an astute observation on my behalf. But Ryan Reilly is a guy that I do think provides a little bit more of the value that Montreal would be interested in acquiring here. Just head over to his profile on Elite Prospects. You'll see O'Reilly, 34 years old, 6'1", 216, left-handed guy. 2026-2027 is the contract expiration at $4.5 million a year. Former second-round pick by the Colorado Avalanche back in 2009. O'Reilly had 53 points in 79 games last year for a bad Predators team. He had 69 points in 82 games the year before that on a considerably good Predators team. So obviously there is still an offensive element to his game. This year he is on pace for about 25 goals and 54 points, which is not bad. It's respectable. For a guy making $4.5 million, you really can't go wrong with that. It's just you would hope that he doesn't age poorly into the rest of the contract, as he is 34 years old. However, we did note this with the Vancouver Ryan O'Reilly conversation as well, but O'Reilly left Toronto because there was such a big spotlight over there. The vibes were kind of off for his personality, and he just didn't like the idea of being in that market. I wonder if there would be similar things with Montreal. I get that the timelines are different, like in Toronto, there's such a big expectation to win that if they don't do that, there's such a big frustration. There's a calling out of the players. You start questioning the superstardom of the team. There are a number of questions that present themselves with the Maple Leafs if things don't go well. But for Montreal, they are in that transition phase. You're not necessarily expecting the team to make the finals every year like you are with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And the Montreal Canadiens are not in their primes yet. So if Ryan O'Reilly could come over and be some sort of a grounding veteran presence, I do think that's a lot more of a suitable role for him with the Habs versus with the Maple Leafs. You could say the same thing about Steven Stamkos, although the problems with him are that he just isn't really that good this season. Now, I've been preaching that if you were to take advantage of the skills that Stamkos has, you could potentially get some positive returns, but that is not guaranteed. And there is enough uncertainty, I think, in Stammer's game at this point that most fans are not willing to consider it. He is older than Ryan O'Reilly, 35 years old, making $8 million till the end of 2028. So not only is he older, but he's making more money for longer than Ryan O'Reilly, and he doesn't even play center. So, yeah, I think the answers kind of write themselves over there. Let's scroll down and see Stammer is on pace for 20 points this year and 16 goals. Now, thank goodness he had scored a bunch of goals recently. He was at 1 goal for so long this year. 1 goal in his first however many games this is to open up the 2025-2026 season. The guy has been snake-bitten. The guy has been crap out of luck. And there is a difficult conversation to have as to whether or not he's actually movable at this point. Vancouver might just go out there and take a swing on Stamkos because they need a center as well, and they can't keep looking inward because they have only so many Abbotsford guys. But either way, when it comes to the Montreal Canadiens, I do think O'Reilly's a better fit, as Mark Dumont pointed out. But as Darren Dreger pointed out, the Montreal Canadiens might have no choice but to start exploring this trade market soon. So with all that in mind, I'll leave a link in the description to today's Spectre's Hockey article that goes over these Montreal Canadiens notes and trade rumors. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you feel about Stamkos, O'Reilly, Darren Dreger's message in general, and whether or not the Canadiens and the Predators could actually make another trade? Let me know in the comments all your opinions. I hope you enjoyed this British Ashroll 99, and bye.